You are listening Day of the Droids podcast.
Extreme music since 2007.
This is the fucking Day of the Droids. Yes, you hear it, DOTD. Fucking Droids.
I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. You know, like a I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss. I don't want to be a part of this. Something sounds like a morning piss.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This time, we're going on a deep dive into a label that was really unlike anything else out there, especially back in the 90s. Digital Hardcore Recordings, or DHR, as most folks know it.
Yeah. DHR was something else, you know.
What exactly was digital hardcore?
Imagine if you took, like, all that punk rock energy, the DIY, the in-your-face lyrics,
Okay, yeah.
and then you threw it all into a blender with the newest techno and industrial sounds.
Wow.
That's the easiest way I can think to describe it.
So it wasn't just music, it was a whole attitude.
Definitely. And nobody did that attitude better than Atari Teenage Riot.
ATR, right.
Yeah. DHR's flagship band, for sure. Real pioneers. Taking those punk and electronic elements and making something totally new. Totally explosive.
Well, let's hear them. You mentioned Start the Riot from
Yeah.
1995. Why is this track a good place to start if you want to understand DHR?
Start the Riot is like a sonic manifesto for digital hardcore. It just throws you right into it. You've got those crazy fast tempos, distorted guitars and synths crashing into each other. And those lyrics, they're political and they're intense, almost scary.
All right, I'm ready to start a riot. Let's hear it.
This is the fucking Day of the Droids. Yes, you hear it, DOTD. Fucking Droids.
loud. Yeah, that's why they call it hardcore, I guess. It's like a sonic explosion.
Yeah, and that intensity, that urgency is a big part of what made DHR so impactful. They weren't just like making music, it was a statement.
And DHR wasn't a one-trick pony either, right? They had a whole bunch of artists pushing the boundaries of digital hardcore in all kinds of different ways.
Music. You are listening Day of the Droids podcast.
Take Ekeeter, for example. This duo, Patrick Catani and Gina Dorio, made some of the most aggressive, energetic music on the label.
Really?
But get this, they did it all with super limited technology. Just an Amiga 500 computer and a mic.
Seriously, that's wild. They were making cutting-edge electronic music with what, by today's standards, is like a kid's toy.
It's kind of mind-blowing, yeah. Their album from 1995, AK-78, is a perfect example.
don't give me the fucking chance to give you to think about.
I need a minute to catch my breath.
It's intense, huh?
Like being caught in a sonic tornado. I can see how Iki Kiter fit right in with DHR. Fearless, experimental, always pushing it to the limit.
Yeah. And that spirit of experimentation was everywhere at DHR. Even within that one label, there was so much diversity, so many different sounds and approaches.
I'm thinking of Shizuo, for instance. His music always felt, to me, even more experimental and abrasive than some of the other DHR artists. He wasn't afraid to go all out noisy and chaotic.
Shizuo, that was David Hammer's project. He was definitely an outlier, you could say that. His take on digital hardcore was almost like anti-production.
Interesting.
A lot of the artists were really focused on using the latest tech and pushing it to the limit. Shizuo embraced the raw, unpolished sound of lo-fi.
He was like rebelling against the rebellion.
Yeah, kinda.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What would be a good example of his work?
His 1997 album, The Man, really shows you what he was about. It's full of these raw, almost jarring recordings, like you're right there in the middle of the chaos of his live performance. And the title track, The Man, is pure sonic adrenaline. Confrontational, relentless, totally captivating.
Sounds like a wild ride. What else is on there that shows Shizuo's unique style?
Well, you've got the full throttle stuff, but then there's Tizen, which takes things in a different direction, unconventional rhythms, and the soundscape is just shifting constantly. And then you've got tracks with names like, High-Speed Masturbation and Blowjob.
Whoa! Okay, I think we get the picture. He wasn't holding back at all. So let's hear some of the sonic mayhem ourselves. The Man, right.
Yup, get ready. It's about to get loud.
Secure
That was intense. Definitely not background music,
No kidding.
but there's something brilliant about it. Just raw energy you can't deny.
Shizuo was a true original. He really pushed what digital hardcore could be.
Speaking of pushing boundaries, we can't talk about DHR without talking about the founder, Alec Empire. He was such a driving force behind APR.
For sure.
But his solo stuff also explored some pretty interesting areas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. ATR was a collaboration, but with his solo work, Alec Empire could really let his experimental side run wild. And his 1996 album, The Destroyer, really shows that off.
Let's give our listeners a taste of The Destroyer.
The
den Videospielen gibt es verschiedene Figuren, die gegeneinander kämpfen. Zinnsoldaten der Neuzeit. Sind diese Figuren nicht das Spiegelbild ihres Programmierers?
You are listening Day of the Droids podcast.
Extreme music since 2007.
This is the fucking Day of the Droids. Yes, you hear it, DOTD. Fucking droids.
You know, one thing that strikes me about DHR, they had this reputation for being aggressive, in your face, but there's also a lot of diversity in the artists.
Yeah, that's important. DHR wasn't just about sonic brutality. It was about, a platform for artists to experiment, express themselves in ways that challenged the mainstream.
And a perfect example of that, I think, is Christophe de Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
His music had a very different vibe, much darker, more atmospheric, like he was exploring a whole other side of digital hardcore, more introspective, more unsettling maybe.
Absolutely. Christophe de Babylon brought this cinematic quality to DHR.
I like that, cinematic.
He mixed drum and bass, ambient, industrial, created these immersive soundscapes that were beautiful but also terrifying at the same time.
His 1996 EP, Destroy Berlin,
Mm-hmm.
really captures that. There's that tension underneath it all, a feeling of unease, like walking through a dark, abandoned city.
That's a great way to put it. And Nameless #2 from that EP is a perfect example of how he used atmosphere. It's hypnotic, almost seductive, but underneath there's that feeling of dread, like it's lurking there.
Yeah, he's playing with our emotions, right?
Listening to the Droids podcast. Extreme music since 2007.
What's interesting is that Christophe de Babylon actually released music on his own before he joined DHR.
Oh, really?
It shows you what the label's reputation was like. A place for artists who were doing things differently, not afraid to challenge the rules.
A place where you could be yourself, no matter how dark or weird or experimental. And speaking of artists who weren't afraid to be themselves, we got to talk about Lolita Storm.
Oh, yeah.
They were definitely one of the most provocative, controversial acts on the label.
No doubt. They embraced confrontation. Loud, abrasive, and lyrically. Wow.
Yeah.
They went there. Sex, drugs, you name it.
They had this raw punk energy that was infectious.
Ooh.
Their 2000 album, Girls Fucking Shit Up, is a perfect example.
Right.
An explosion of attitude and just sonic chaos.
And, okay, said from that album, that's a classic Lolita Storm track.
Yeah.
Fast beats, distorted synth, and lyrics that are confrontational, but also kind of funny.
It's like they were using humor as a weapon.
Totally. Satirizing all those norms and expectations.
They were pioneers of, riot girl electronics.
Yeah, exactly. Using electronic music to, express feminist rage.
Yeah.
Challenge the patriarchy.
So pushing boundaries musically and politically. All right, let's hear what this riot girl electronics sounds like. Hit us with, okay, Sid.
Okay, yeah. Definitely hear that punk influence. Raw, chaotic, and ready to make a statement.
For sure. Lolita Storm was a band that refused to be silenced. Their music still resonates today, especially as more and more artists use electronic music to explore gender and identity,
Yeah. And we can't wrap up this DHR deep dive without mentioning another pioneering female artist, Haneen Elias. We talked about her with Atari Teenage Riot, but her solo stuff was just as important.
Absolutely. She was a powerful voice in digital hardcore as a musician and an activist. Her solo work explored female empowerment, social justice, personal liberation, and her 2000 album, In Flames, really shows her strength, her resilience. It's angry, it's defiant. All right, let's give Haneen Elias the final word in our DHR deep dive. Play us In Flames.
We
and it's a great way to wrap up our look at digital hardcore recordings, a label that was all about challenging norms, making music that mattered.
Yeah, DHR was a unique moment, a time when artists weren't afraid to experiment, to provoke, to speak truth to power.
Listening to all this music, it's kind of crazy to think how ahead of their time DHR was.
Yeah, really.
They were way out on the fringes. They helped pave the way for so many electronic music subgenres that, like, we're still listening to today, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like, what specifically, where can we hear those DHR threads in today's music?
I mean, you hear it in everything from breakcore to industrial techno to even like the more experimental side of EDM.
Oh, yeah.
Those fast tempos, the distorted sounds, that punk energy, it's all there.
It's pretty amazing how a small independent label from way back in the 90s could have this kind of lasting impact.
You know, I think it's because they tapped into something primal, something that really resonated with people who wanted something different, something that like challenged the status quo.
Yeah.
This was music that made you feel something, even if that feeling was uncomfortable.
It was music that made you think, too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. DHR was never afraid to tackle those political, social issues head on.
Right.
They were a voice for like the disenfranchised, the people who felt like they didn't fit in with mainstream society.
And that message of rebellion, it's still so relevant today. Maybe even more so than it was back then.
I think you're right.
We live in a world where it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like you don't have any control.
Yeah.
But music like this, it reminds us that we can still fight back.
Right.
That we can make our voices heard.
Like a difference.
So, big picture.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway for everyone listening? What should we be thinking about after going on this deep dive?
I think the main thing to remember is that music is powerful.
It is.
It can be a real tool for change. It challenges how we see things, it opens up our minds, and it can inspire us to create a better world.
And if you're looking for music that makes you feel something, that makes you think differently,
go back and explore digital hardcore recordings.
Yeah.
There's so much to discover. So crank up the volume, open your mind, and get ready to dive deep.
until next time, happy listening.